Welcome to the CFF Truck Financing Show. I'm your host, Matt Monero. We come to you every day, Monday through Friday, from our studio in Dallas, Texas. Who is Commercial Fleet Financing? Well, that's our company. We've been in business 23 years. I'm the president and founder of the company. And we finance transportation equipment like semi-trucks, trailers, tow trucks, big rigs, bulldozers. And we have, for the last 23 years, we've done well over $1 billion. We do well over $100 million a year, and we're experts in transportation. We started the show just last week in an effort to help clients and potentially future clients and the industry get through this maze known as truck financing. What is the best way to buy equipment for your business? We're going to help you with it. So again, I'm Matt Monero. The name of the company is Commercial Fleet Financing. You can find us at CFF nationwide on all social media platforms. Let's get started. The show works in a simple fashion. We give our financing tip of the day. Then we go to our deal of the day, the actual nuts and bolts of a deal that we did probably this morning. And then we'll do a social shout out, and then we're going to close the show. So if you've got any questions or comments, don't be afraid to fire them up for us. We love them. And let's get rocking and rolling. So our finance tip of the day is really, what does your credit need to look like to get financing? There's so many pieces of bad information about that. So I just want to sum it up for you and kind of give it to you straight. There's 3 blocks. The first block of credit, known as subprime, is 600 and below. So your personal credit score is 600 and below. And that's an ugly situation for you. I just don't want to tell it to you any other way. If you've got bad credit, it's going to cost you a ton of money to get financing, if you can get financing at all. We don't do subprime financing at Commercial Fleet. Now, we have another company called Fresh Start that does do subprime. And it's pretty ugly approvals. I'm just not going to lie to you. The Fresh Start program is basically a 20% down and 20% rate program, but it is not uncommon for other finance companies with credit scores for applicants under 600. You could be looking at a 50% down payment and a 50% interest rate. Yeah, a 50-50 program. And a 50-50 program is very difficult to make work. How do you make money when you're paying 50% interest? So my first challenge to you is, if you've got tough credit, man, you got to work on getting it fixed. And I'm going to do a show down the road about how to fix your credit, but you need to fix your credit. You're paying through the nose for trucks, whether it's a lease purchase or whether it's a subprime finance program, or it's through, some competitors out there that are charging nasty, nasty programs, and you're the victim of that. You are not the benefactor of that. You are the victim of your lousy credit, and you need to spend time to fix it. The next block or group is 600 to 700 credit. That's really what we would categorize as B and C credit quality. And you're going to pay, you're going to pay a premium for that. I mean, your interest rates are going to be somewhere in that 7 to 12% range, and you're probably looking at a 10% down payment on that. 690 on the higher end of that scale. You might be looking at a first and last payment in advance. You might be looking at a 7 or 8% interest rate. But remember, it's not perfect credit. There is a reason why your credit score isn't 700 plus. It could be excessive credit card debt. It could be too many inquiries. It could be that your debt to revenue, or your income to revenue, income to debt ratios are off. But there's a reason why your score isn't 700. Again, we'll get into that on a later show. But those are kind of the rates and structure that you should be looking at and would be looking at. Now, once you get over 700 credit score, you're in pretty good shape. It doesn't mean it's the only criteria that a finance company looks at when we're doing credit underwriting, but it certainly is a good indicator. Over 700 credit score, you should be looking somewhere in the 5 to 7, 5 to 8% range. You could get no money down on that, but let me stop you just for a second, because there's a few criteria that you need to know about when it comes to credit. The first criteria is, yes, the credit score matters, but in commercial loans, it is not the only thing. The other thing that matters is, what are you buying? Are you buying new or are you buying used? How many miles does it have on it? What type of engine is it spec'd with? What are the equipment specs that it comes with? Has it had an overhaul or not? Does it have warranty? Those things really matter in underwriting. Other things that matter are, what is your time in business? How long have you been in business? Have you borrowed the money in the past and have you paid it back? And that might show up on a Dun & Bradstreet report. Or what most people don't know about is there's another report. It's called a PayNet report, in which the lenders subscribe to a PayNet report, and it tells us what does your borrowing capacity look like. In fact, it will tell me if you borrowed $150,000 2 months ago from somebody, and how are you paying it back. And that PayNet is a very important report. So it is credit score. It is time in business. It is what are you buying. It is Dun & Bradstreet report. It is PayNet report. It is Secretary of State. Is the company in good standing? It is your SAFER report. How is your driving record of you and the company? It also is, are you a homeowner or not, right? Then the old adage of my business when I learned it all those decades ago was no home, no loan. So it does matter if you're a homeowner. Those are all the criteria. So don't get overly caught up on credit score. It is one important factor, but there are other extenuating factors. So again, 3 boxes of credit. Under 600, 600 to 700, 700 above. Definitely different financing programs when you do that. I want to go through our deal of the day. Speaking of which, the deal of the day comes to us from a Texas-based company, a company driver, had been driving for 30 years, long time in the trucking industry, wanted to go out on his own, and came to us to do the financing. Now, this customer had an over 700 credit score, was buying a 2015 over-the-road big rig, very well-maintained truck. The truck was priced at $79,000, and we approved the transaction for 10% down payment. We did it for 42 months. The rate to the customer was 8.9%. The customer's monthly payment was $1,900. And he is the happy recipient of a credit approval from us, busting bugs going down the road. And that gives you an idea as a startup owner-operator, first-time buyer, of if you choose to buy a $70,000 truck, 2015 model, what you might be looking at from us. We are on the more competitive side of that. You could easily be looking at 15, 18% interest rate, 20, 25% down payment from a competitor on that. There is absolutely no question. So if you are a company driver and you're looking to get into the trucking business and buy your own truck, we would love to help you with that. And you just got an idea of what kind of a program we'd be offering on that. I want to do our shout out, our social shout out of the day to my friend Tex Crowley. You know, I'm just a huge fan of Tex's work. I think he absolutely represents and supports the trucking business beautifully. He's an advocate for the trucking business. He's a trucker himself. And he actually competed in the contest that we ran called Truck Tank back in 2015 at the Great American Truck Show. And just an all-around great guy. So I want to give a social shout out, someone who's doing work on social media that benefits the transportation industry. And today's social shout out goes to my friend Tex Crowley at Texomatic, a Texas guy, by the way, and he's calling it Texomatic Motor Media. I know it is Texomatic Pictures, but you can find him at Texomatic all over social media. That's the show for the day. Happy Monday, everybody. Again, I'm Matt Monero. I'm the president and founder of Commercial Fleet Financing in Dallas, Texas. If you need trucks, trailers, equipment of any kind for your business, I want you to reach out to us. The phone line here is 972-247-8447. You can find us on the web at commercialfleetfinancing.com, all over social media. We have almost 1,000 videos on YouTube at CFF Nationwide. Drive safe. See you down the road.